you didn't on camera, but you did in afterwards, right? Before. Okay, okay. Okay. So it doesn't matter what happened on camera. The only reason I have you on camera is because that meant that somebody else was there with you. So somebody asked me, well, you know, I want to make it the best video possible. Now, don't worry about that. It's not about the best video. It's about you. Everything I give you, it's about the experience and what you learn about yourself from the experience. Does that make sense? Right? So yes, I'm going to actually get my son to help me with the YouTube channel so you guys can post it up. Some of you found a way. Emailing it to me didn't work because I can't access it. So yeah, so email it to me didn't work. For some reason the server blocks it, and it's just it's not working. So we'll get that going. So save them. Don't delete them. What else was going through your mind as you guys were standing there? Anybody want to share?
Well, I was just because like with that, I've never done anything like that, and so I was like pretty nervous about it. And so I was mainly trying to like focus on my nerves and like trying to like relax and just get through it. But, yeah.
And what made you nervous about it?
Mainly just being blindfolded and having my arms out. It was just.
What did it feel like being in that?
Well, it was a weird feeling. I really like I couldn't really stand still for a moment. Like I was kind of moving around because I don't know. I guess I just
would it be vulnerability?
Yeah.
You're uncomfortable with vulnerability. You don't like being vulnerable. Who else found that they didn't like being vulnerable? So that's a learning. Do you see what that is? That's a learning. That's a big learning. If we've got see, those are new learnings about ourselves that we can now take. And he's now got something. Hey, I'm not very good at vulnerability. So let's take a look at what I'm doing in my life where I skirt the issue of being vulnerable. Do I say no to certain things because I don't want to be vulnerable? Do I avoid certain activities because I don't want to be vulnerable? See, the learning goes deeper, right? And it's important for us to be able, that's what I'm trying to get you guys to do with these Yamas, is to get in there and use that, because that's a tool that is a key to success. If he can master his vulnerability, he can master a lot of things, right? What about fear? Did anybody have fear? Oh, you felt scared. Okay. Right. So fear of being touched by a stranger is something as well that you want to take a look at and begin to analyze it, pick it apart. You want to be able to pick it apart and say, where else in my life is that affecting me, and how is that stopping me? Does that make sense? Because one of the things that we do, right here, is we're mean to ourselves. This includes us. This includes us, guys. What happens when you start to cry? What is the self-talk that happens when you start to cry? Or when you feel like you're going to start to cry? What's the self-talk? Anybody want to share? Mine is, stay strong, don't cry, be strong, don't cry. Don't cry, be strong, don't be a sissy, come on. That's my self-talk, right? So we have to listen to that self-talk. and wonder when else it shows up for us, because that becomes a barrier to our success. Does that make sense? So we have to think, we're still analyzing, evaluating our thoughts. Even in that exercise, you were still evaluating your thoughts. Now, there are some times when people do this and they'll go, "Ooh, that was cool. Ooh, hey, I'm having a great time, right? This is really cool." Anybody? Right?
It was fun.
Right? It was fun, right?
And I felt like lighter because like I'm not really like a hugger, and I've acknowledged that before. So like stepping out of my comfort zone and like actually hugging strangers just felt good. And I acknowledge that there's like a lot of different people out there, like really like loving people, and others that are like kind of standoffish as well.
What about the conversations? As soon as you guys put that blindfold on, did you notice that your senses, your hearing, picked up? Yes or no? Did all of a sudden you swore you could hear that person that was a mile away, right? Yes or no? Did anybody notice that they got affected by what they were hearing? Anybody?
Like when.
Go ahead.
This is when people will make like weird comments, you just laugh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah?
When I could hear footsteps coming towards me, I would just kind of freak out a little bit. Somebody's gonna like touch me. Please.
And it's interesting because our inhibitions are there, right? And so we learn a lot about ourselves. And all of the homeworks I will give is about learning about yourself, because you become a better, stronger, more effective, more significant, more successful person by knowing yourself first. That makes sense? So when we practice ahimsa, we've got to do it 100% of the time. That includes our thoughts, right? You guys already wrote down your thoughts. You already know whether you're a negative thinker. You already know where you're a worry thinker. You all know that. How many worry thinkers do I have in here? Okay, always worried about the future or about the past. Right?
Presence.
Well, there's no worry in the present.
We did activity also hugging. My fear is what other people will think if they see
Ah.
agents do this, because I always get this. I hear that these days people are a little oversensitive of things, because those stories people saying that there could be strangers out there, molesters. They're gonna think I'm one of those people.
Interesting. So that's another fear that holds us back. It will hold us back because we will stop what we're doing or change what we're doing because we're afraid of what other people will think about it. We're afraid about what other people will think of me. Oh, no, I can't wear that. No, then people will think I'm a hoochie mama or something like that, right?
Political correctness also.
Right. Yeah. So always worried about what other people think becomes a barrier. It becomes a barrier. And when you're worried about what other people think, are you acting with ahimsa toward yourself? No, you're not. You were out of alignment. And if we were all acting with ahimsa, we wouldn't need to worry about anybody else's thoughts. And when you act in ahimsa, there's two kinds of thoughts. There's two kinds of judgments. We're always in judgment. First of all, you need to understand one thing. When people say, get rid of judgment, you can't. I'm really sorry, but the brain is wired that way where you will always be in judgment. What you can do is be aware of it, and you're either going to judge up or you're going to judge down. Judging down is criticism. That isn't good for anybody.